Hey, do you know what happens when you have a blind spot? But there's also when business owners use generative AI to do their brand identity. Ooh, harsh, right? Hey, I'm Mark. Welcome back to Your Creative Brief, where I try to give you those quick actionable tips based on today's trending brands and marketing campaigns. So if you're looking for a quick, surefire way to make your brand typical, vanilla, average, mediocre, lackluster, forgettable, go ahead and use generative AI. It does a great job at that. And today I'm going to give you an example of that from somebody that uploaded their brand board to social media, so it's fair game. And we're going to take a close look at the details of why it's really a good idea to leave that to a brand creative professional. My agency, we develop 1 or 2 page mini brand identity guides, visual identity guides for clients. They're not like giant corporate businesses. So they're very similar kind of to this 1-page brand board that this consultant has developed with AI. But I'm going to show you the difference between AI generated and working with a professional. So right off the bat, when I look at this consultant's brand board, his name isn't on there at all. You don't know who this is. And your brand identity guide should be usable by any number of other people like print vendors, freelancers doing your website or social or things like that. So you want to have your name or company identity on there. It's very obvious on our guide, who this is for, an email address, things like that. The next thing would be the photos. Like on his, if you're trying to project high-end consultant, use a professional photo. This AI generated image here, it can read like fake or like a scam. Another suggestion is maybe smile or look confident. This has kind of got to feel like I'm not ready for my headshot kind of feel to it. Your visuals, you want them to be really strong and positive and inviting, kind of like what we've done on this church guide here. I'd also say ditch that Saturday morning sweatshirt look. If you're a consultant, your look should match whatever the brand is. And on his, there's the similar looking photos like all over the guide. There's no need to have this many photos across the guide, like the 7, the profile picture crop. That's really completely unnecessary. Let's take a look at the color palette differences. Theirs just has the web hex codes. You really, in a professional guide, want to have more color codes like the CMYK, maybe the RGB. Sometimes you might want to have Pantone if they're doing very color specific, but anymore, a lot of things are printed in RGB. The other thing is, with his color palette, I don't know which colors to use and for what. So on my guide, I'll tell you that this is for decorative, this is for links, this is for backgrounds, things like that. Some kind of context for the colors. Okay, let's move on to font style. I don't mind that his AI generation pulled from Google Fonts because those are free and they're easily embeddable on websites. So on ours, we picked ones that are also Google Fonts, but they're lesser known and they fit the brand really well. And you'll notice on the AI generated guide, there again, like the colors, there's no context. Like, I don't know, is Poppins the headline font and Montserrat the body font? I don't know. So in our guide, we just give like a little, context clues as to where to apply the fonts. And we're also throughout the guide applying those fonts in that context. I'll give you another example of the level of intentionality working with a professional designer that you will not get from AI generated stuff. When we select fonts for a client, we also go out to Canva and Adobe Express, kind of 2 of the most popular social media platforms, and see if those fonts are available on those platforms. If they're not, we also tell the client how they can embed the font or specify a lookalike font on those platforms so that they're going to have that consistency on the collateral. And AI is just not going to go to that level for you. Let's look at the social media templates area. I've never really seen this in a guide before. I suppose it could be helpful, but here there's really no difference, and it's kind of AI slop, to be honest with you, both graphically and with the content itself. So I don't think that's necessary at all. If we go over to the section 5, personal brand keywords, yeah, as you zoom in on this, you can see that these icons are all AI slop. They're not well formed. And honestly, back to what I was saying in the beginning, if you want to be mediocre, average, vanilla, forgettable, words like consistent or impactful, like everybody wants to be impactful or consistent. There's nothing unique here versus on the guide for this church, they're very specific, welcoming. So when you communicate, it should feel welcoming, authentic, life-changing. They have value to it. They have more weight to them. They're less generic. Let's move down to visual direction. Again, the AI slop icons. And as I go across it, like clean and minimal, okay, that's cool. That kind of gives me a direction on, to not have a really busy design. But then I get to dark and cinematic, and I'm thinking, well, why? What is it for this person's clients that dark and cinematic appeals to? To me, that just seems like something AI put in there that didn't consider this consultant's brand at all. Really, the other things, the cover photo concept, the mood board, things like that, I don't think that really communicates how this guy is unique or the value he brings. Like, honestly, all these generic words and phrases and things like that, cliches, I would never hire this guy to do my brand. On mine, you're seeing localized images, not just of the area, but like the foliage in the area and some well-known touristy things and local sites on there. You're getting messaging to play off of and kind of what their core values are and how they help people assimilate to the church and grow and things like that. You're getting media selection, like some pictures there to know what to pull from and how to source images, whether it's from stock or local. You're getting a link to icons and shapes that will be consistent and fit with the brand. There's just so much more, even though it's still compacted to a 2-page guide. And I do much larger guides, like 20, 30 pages. But this was everything that they needed to get off the ground running, whether they were doing some of their collateral like social, or we were doing their website and print materials and things like that. This really sets them up for success, whereas the AI-generated brand board, it's just not packed with the strategy, intentionality, and things that this person is really would benefit from. Now, if you are one of these up-and-coming brands and you're looking for shelf space or more traction online, I beg you, please work with a brand identity or creative specialist, because we have decades of experience of knowing, gosh, I think they're going to probably want to leave the door open for this with social or direct mail or print or online. And AI, it's not forward thinking like that. And it's not going to intimately know you and your brand and your customers. It's not going to take that into consideration. And that's where that blind spot comes in, because if you're DIYing this as a business owner, you're going to go through a very long, circuitous, painful route of error after error. And guess what? Your customers and target audiences, they're not going to go on that circuitous journey with you. They're going to go with a brand that's confident, consistent, and professional. As always, if I can be a resource to you, let's chat, reach out to me. But for now, I'm Mark for your Creative Brief.